Hello, welcome to live shopping. Happy Monday. Hope you all had a lovely weekend. They do go by quickly, don't they? It seems to be Monday once again, but we've got a fantastic day lined up for you here at Highlight Crafts. Started off very busy with that launch hour. Lots of you guys getting your hands on that fabulous brand new collection. But we're going to slow things down a little bit for this hour. We're going to have a nice relaxing hour talking about one of my favourite things when it comes to crafting, which is your colouring. And we've got some fantastic colouring mediums, different sorts of mediums on this show, and we will be showing you how you can use those different mediums with those different techniques. Plus, we have got some fantastic digital stamps on the show as well. Now, if you are brand new to us here at Highlight Crafts, I will just introduce how easy it is to watch us and shop here on our live shopping shows. So there are a few different ways that you can watch us here at Highlight Crafts. You can be watching on our website. You might be watching on Instagram, Facebook, or over on our YouTube channels. Now, if you are watching on either Facebook or Instagram, super simple to shop on there. Literally, you can watch and shop at the same time without having to go elsewhere, which is super easy. So as we go down through all these products that we've got on the counter here, every single one of these products will have an item code next to it. Now, all you need to do into that comments box, the same place where you chat with us on the show, you're just going to type the word shop followed by whatever that keyword might be. You can see, for example, on your screen there, you've got shop pure 50. That's what you want to go for. Type that into the comments box, and then what will happen is we will send you a private message. Now, on that message, you will have a link. Click through on that link, and that link will take you over to our website. Now, when you get onto our website, you will see that whatever that item you've added to your basket will be waiting for you in that top right-hand corner in your basket, ready for you to check out. Now, before you check out, please do make sure that you log into your Club Highlight account. If you're not already a member, please do make sure that you sign up. It's a fabulous club, free to join, and you're going to get savings of at least 5% on every single purchase you make. Plus, you'll be earning points on all those purchases you're making, and you'll also get free delivery on all orders over £35 or more, which is amazing. We love a bit of free delivery, don't we, here at Highlight Crafts? So get yourself signed up or logged in, and then you can check out your baskets. Now, if you are watching over on our website, you can also shop that way as well. Super easy to shop via the website if that's the way that you prefer to do things. Now, next to whatever show it is you're watching, you'll see all those products when we go live. We'll start to scroll on through. Now, just click on whichever ones you want to go for, get them added to your basket, and then once again, get yourself logged in and you can check out your basket. Now, we've got some fantastic things coming up on the show. If you do want to make sure that you never miss one of our live shows, just type the word live into the comments, and then that will make sure you're getting reminders for every single one of our live shows, which is fabulous. Now, it's just me and you for this hour. I'm here on my own for this hour of colouring, so please do let me know that you're there. Drop me a comment, let us know what you're getting up to. Let us know if you had a lovely weekend, perhaps you're crafting today, maybe you're back in your craft room. Let us know what you're working on today. Now, we're going to dive straight in. We're going to start off with our digital stamps. Now, if you've never tried digital stamps before, it's an absolutely fantastic way to do all your stamping with total and utter ease, and it just gives you so many different options as well. So we are going to start off with our download. Now, this is actually volumes 1 to 3 of your 2 Red Robins download collections. You can get them individually, but the way it works out in this bundle is you're paying for one and you're getting the other 2 for free. So quite frankly, why wouldn't you go for the bundle? Now, the code for the bundle is shop download. $19.99 is going to get you all 3 of those, and we'll start off with volume number 1. Now, when it comes to digital stamps, they are fabulous in the sense that if you do struggle with stamping, I know we bring to you some fabulous stamping platforms, but perhaps dexterity-wise, you struggle with the actual movement of stamping. You've got that ability to still be able to stamp, but using your digital software, which is fabulous. You get all these individual stamps here, so every single image you can see here is an individual stamp that you can resize. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can repeat them, so you've got them tiled all over your background if that's what you want to do. Just gives you so much more freedom compared to a traditional rubber or clear stamp. You just have more freedom with that ability to resize, and you know you'll get that perfect impression every single time. Now, when it comes to these little fence panels, I know they don't look an awful lot on their own, but if you take all these images into Minecraft Studio, you can use all these little component parts to start to build up your scenes. So perhaps you're going to bring in some of those different fence panels and start to build up your own fences. Of course, you can do that, and it makes it so quick and easy using your digital stamps. all of the detail within every single one of these. You're safe in the knowledge that you're going to get that detail onto your image every single time by printing these onto whatever cardstock you're working on. Perhaps you're going to be using your watercolour cardstock, which we've got coming up a little bit later on in the show. You can print onto that and use your watercolours. Perhaps you prefer your alcohol pen colouring. Of course, you can print onto your pure print and get colouring with your alcohol markers. But all these fabulous images here can be any size you like, right up to the size of cardstock that your printer is going to take. And you've got the ability to print these time and time again using your fantastic Minecraft Studio software. So all these images are included. This is just volume 1, just giving you a little flavour of exactly what you're going to be getting on the first one of 3 you're getting as part of this bundle. So that's your first volume 1. Then we move on to volume 2, and you've got all that gorgeous artwork that's very typical of our 2 Red Robins collections. You've got all these gorgeous little owls. I mean, how super cute are they? I'm going to quickly bring in an image that I've just printed off onto my watercolour cardstock and just brought in some of our watercolour pencils that we've actually got coming up on later on the show. How cute is he? He's even winking at us there. He's got one eye open, one eye closed, got such personality and all the detail that you're getting within that stamp there. All those lovely sort of sketchy lines of detail are absolutely incredible. Just such a beautiful image. You can see there it's a little bit bigger. It's about A5 in size, but if you wanted that to be much smaller, perhaps for a little gift tag, or full A4 size, and you're going to pop that into a box frame, that choice is yours. And that's the beauty of using your digital stamps. So you've got all of those lovely little characters. You've got your little Barney the Owl. Some of them he's got both eyes closed, both eyes open, he's winking. So you've got lots and lots of different options with these images. All that detail that we know and love from 2 Red Robins dies has been transferred into our digital stamps. All those little scene setters, those scene builders, so things like your little trailing ivy there. Of course, you could be flipping these, you can be tiling them, you can be creating full wreaths and frames if that's what you want to do. Just giving you so many different options of how you can mix and match these images on this one download, perhaps with your other downloads as well. Look at your little scarecrow, how cute is he? Just super adorable for all those fun cards. That is volume number 2. Don't forget you are getting that included. If you're going for shop download, you will get that included as part of your collection. And then we'll move on to number 3 here, which is the 3rd in your collection of downloads. Now you've got some more gorgeous images. Love the fact that you've got some of your silhouettes as well. So maybe you've got some digital downloads of your pattern papers. Bring those into Minecraft Studio as your background. Pop your little silhouette stamps over the top, and you've got a beautiful, really dramatic card in little to no time whatsoever. I've just printed off those lovely little poppies there onto some of our pure print paper, and I've just used some of those illustration markers. Once again, we've got those coming up a little bit later on in the show, and just done a little bit of colouring. How lovely does that look using just that one download? All of the imagery within here, of course, you can be printing to your heart's content. Oh, look at that lovely pie that we've got in there. It'd be great if you're doing Thanksgiving cards or anything like that as well. Just the detail in here is absolutely incredible. It looks like it's being sketched using a pencil by hand. It's just amazing. Your background's going to be incredible. It's a really useful one within your crafty stash, but all those different elements that you can start to build your scenes together, whether you're using them as single designs on their own, or whether you're starting to mix and match all those images to build up those scenes. You've got the ability to do all that and so much more using Minecraft Studio. So that one is volume 3. Of course, as part of shop download, you're getting all 3 of the volumes there, 1 to 3. Lots and lots of different options of what you can be creating, but just tons and tons of images to be adding to your crafty stash. So if you want to go for all 3 of those, shop download will get you your 2 Red Robins Digi-Stamp volumes 1 to 3 download bundle, and that's $19.99. It's down from, trying to read the number, just under £70, I do believe. Just under £70, but $19.99. It works out that you're buying one and you're getting the other 2 for free, which is a fabulous offer. Now, talking of cardstock, I did mention some cardstocks earlier. Now, it depends on what you're colouring with as to what sort of cardstock you use. The cardstock that you use is really crucial to get the results that you want when it comes to colouring. Now, I have a few options coming up for your water-based mediums, but if you're using your alcohol-based pens, then your pure print paper is absolutely fabulous to get colouring with. Now, this is your 250 GSM, which is great for your alcohol pens. Works a little bit better, I would say, than your 140, so this is definitely the one I'd be going for. Got a nice smooth surface on it. It's not got much of a texture. and it's got slightly longer fibres, this one, compared to your premium pure print. So this is the better one when it comes to your alcohol pens, simply because you've got a little bit more time to actually be able to blend that ink and get those beautiful seamless blends when you're using any of your alcohol based pens. And then get that sheet of cardstock back in there. Oh dear, shouldn't have done that. It was a white cardstock. I mean, you could have seen it quite easily through the packaging there, but I thought, you know what, I'll take a sheet out. There you go. And then that's back in there. And you are getting 75 sheets of your pure print paper. Of course, we're talking about colouring in this show, so it's going to work perfectly with your illustration markers that we've got coming up. But if you're using your scan and cut, that's a great one for using with your scan and cut. Printing things like your reflections, printing your backgrounds, that's going to work beautifully for that as well. You are getting 75 sheets there for $12.99. Shop Pure 50. Always confuses me why it's 50. I think it's because of the 250 GSM, but it's definitely 75 sheets for $12.99. So that's covering more of your alcohol-based pens. And next up, we've got cardstock that's going to cover your water-based mediums. Now, whether you're using paints, whether it's going to be watercolour markers, perhaps you're going to be using your watercolour pencils, these are the ones to go for. Now, we'll start off with our Mozart card at the top here. This is a beautiful quality cold press watercolour cardstock. You're getting 30 sheets with this one for $17.99. Now, this is sort of the high end when it comes to your watercolour cardstock. It's absolutely beautiful quality. If you want to get those beautiful seamless looks when it comes to your watercolouring, like I say, whether it's the paints themselves, whether it's the pens, the markers that you use in the pencils, this is going to give you those really premium looks to all of your watercolour colouring. It's going to give you that lovely blend. It's not going to pill as you add your water. It's going to take that water absolutely beautifully while giving you that gorgeous blend. And you are getting your 30 sheets there, $17.99, and that one is Shop Pad, P-A-D, if you want to go for that one. Now, if you're thinking about printing your digital stamps, I'd say this is probably the one to go for. With it being a little bit of a lighter weight cardstock, it's going to be ideal for going through many of your home printers. You are getting in this one, you are getting, how many sheets are getting? Does it say on the front? It does, 25. Looking right at me, there you go, 25 sheets of your watercolour cardstock here. Like I say, it's going to be great with your digital stamps. It's ever so slightly bigger than A4. I believe it's 9 inch by 12 inch. So if you are popping it through your printer, you might just need to trim the end off ever so slightly if you've got an A4 printer. But it will work perfectly with all those digital stamps. You're getting 25 sheets there for $9.99, and that one is Shop Card if you want to go for that one. So a couple of different options when it comes to your watercolour cardstocks. And then we move on to our mediums now. We've got some gorgeous, gorgeous pens and pencils on this show. We'll start off with our illustration markers. So these are the ones that we used to colour. Give you a sneaky peek of a bit of colour in here. So we used to colour those lovely poppies that came from our digital downloads. And then we also used it to actually colour this gorgeous little bunny, which once again was from one of our download collections. How super, super cute is he? And that's literally just using the colours that you're getting in this pack here, not bringing anything else into that colouring. I actually listed the pen colours that I used at the bottom there. So nice and easy to colour with these. They are dual-ended. We will show these in a little bit closer detail in demo. You've got that nice fine bullet nib on one end, and then you've got that lovely broad chisel nib on the other end. Great if you like to edge your cardstock to give that foam matte layer, then your chisel nib is absolutely ideal for doing that. But your bullet nib allows you to get into all those lovely details that we've got in our digital stamps. So you are getting 24 of those colours there. If you have got the 12 pen pack, it's actually different colourways to that 12 pen pack, so it sort of fills in the gaps in your collection with that one. All 24 of those, $16.99, which is an incredible price. You're paying less than £1 a pen, and that's even before your club discount. So a great way into your alcohol pens without having to spend an awful lot of money and getting plenty of colours there that you can get started with. Shop Illustration, $16.99, and they come in this lovely box as well, so nice and easy to have out on your crafty desk so you can see exactly what you're working with and all the colours that you've got to get colouring with. So those are alcohol-based pens. And then next up, we'll move on to our water-based pens. Now, these are a little bit different to your alcohol pens. As the name suggests, they are water-based, and we can blend them out with water. Now, if you do want to use them straight from the pen without blending them with water, of course you can do that, but they will work best if you lay that colour down and start to pull and blend that colour out using your water. You do also get the water brush included in this set as well. 20 of your watercolour brush pens in all those gorgeous rainbow colours, plus your water brush pen, which is great for doing all those blending techniques, and all in this lovely presentation box here as well. So it's going to make a great gift if that's what you want to do with it. Shop Water, $14.99 will get you all 20 colours there, plus your water brush pen. Once again, less than £1 a pen, which is outstanding value. Those are lovely quality as well. We will be looking at these in more detail a little bit later on in the show. And then next up we have some watercolour pencils. Now, I have to say, the price on these is absolutely ludicrous, quite frankly. There's no other way of putting it. It's just crazy, crazy value. 24 watercolour pencils in a beautiful presentation wallet for $7.99, and these are fabulous quality. I've actually got the case here, so it will come in that lovely little box there. Once again, great for gifting if that's what you want to do with those, but it will come in that lovely little case there. You've got the zip fastening, so great if you are colouring on the go, nice and easy to take with you. But look over all those gorgeous colourways. Every single one of those lovely high quality pencils for $7.99 before your club discount. That for me has got to be the deal of the show. And the quality, when you see these in demo, you'll see what beautiful quality these really are. And just a little bit of colouring. So we've printed onto some of our watercolour card using one of those beautiful downloads. Just coloured in using these lovely watercolour pencils, all using the colours within this wallet here. Didn't bring anything else in apart from a water brush, but look at the sort of results you can get using these fabulous watercolour pencils. They allow you to get into all that detail, all those nooks and crannies around his little claws there. You can get into all that detail with total and utter ease and get all that lovely shading and texture in there as well. 24 pencils, wow, in this lovely case for $7.99. If you've got crafty friends and you're thinking of Christmas gifts, this is one to go for, that is for certain. So a fabulous gift to yourself, quite frankly, and a great way into trying your watercolour colouring. Perhaps you're a little bit daunted by the paints, perhaps you want something that's a little bit more compact, a bit more portable. This is going to be absolutely perfect. $7.99 Shop Pencil will get you your watercolour pencils. Now, before we get to demo, I do just quickly need to show you this because it's proved so super popular this morning. Quite frankly, it's what we've got left of the collection, but it's not the dregs, it's still the good stuff, believe you me. And it is our fantastic Hoppy Christmas collection. Now, launched about an hour ago, and most of it's already gone. So this is what we've currently got left when it comes to this gorgeous collection. A few different options here. So I'm going to start off with your Minecraft Studio artwork download. If you do want to get the SVGs, those are coming in just a few moments time, but we will start off with our Minecraft Studio download. So we'll start off with these beautiful papers. I mean, look how gorgeous these are. Right the way to the background here, you can see all that lovely sort of dappled effect, almost like you've taken a sponge and lots of different colours of paint and start to build up that gorgeous texture. In this one here, you've got almost like those grid lines in the background, and as we move forward, we've got layer upon layer of this gorgeous detail. All your lovely little holly sprigs in there. You've got your berries with the light catching on those. They really look like they're 3D. It's incredible. All your lovely sprigs in there, your borders as well. So it's going to make amazing frames for your cards. If you want to be printing this multiple times, fussy cutting into your corners, layering them up in decoupage, of course you can do that. But what a fabulous collection of backgrounds there. They are absolutely gorgeous. Then you've got more, and this time we're looking at our scenes. How usable are these going to be for all your Christmas cards? All those little characters that you've got perhaps that you're going to be adding to these would work beautifully alongside these backgrounds, but they're such strong images on their own right. Quite frankly, you could be using them alongside your box frames and just creating a piece of artwork as they are. They are absolutely stunning. Love these ones at the bottom here with your archways. How atmospheric do these look? You can almost feel that sort of atmosphere. You can feel the light sort of beaming down onto those cobblestones at the bottom there. Absolutely stunning artwork. Perhaps you've got our Crimson Noel collection from a couple of weeks ago. How about bringing in some of that foliage and sort of cascading it around that archway? That would look absolutely gorgeous. But I will just show you a few of these printed out a little bit bigger so you can see these in all their glory, because they are just stunning. Right down to all the detail of the lights in all the houses. Looks almost like they're glowing. It's incredible. That lovely archway, once again, great for your quick and easy cards if that's what you're looking for. Or if you want something a little bit more muted for your backgrounds, perhaps you've got characters that you're going to place over the top. It's lovely to have a slightly more subtle background that's going to work perfectly alongside there. we've got some more of our lovely subtle sort of almost like a frosted effect background. Just absolutely gorgeous. All of these and so much more included in terms of your backgrounds. I mean, there's tons and tons. And think of all those different mediums you've got in your crafty stash to actually print these onto. It could be a cardstock, it might be a premium pure print that you're using. It might be onto your rice papers and using these in your home decor. It could be that you're using these alongside your fabric transfer sheets and adding that onto things like cushions or tote bags. Perhaps you're going to be bringing in things like your printable acetate. Those would look amazing onto your printable acetate. Perhaps a little bit of your foiling pen onto there as well. And that's just your backgrounds, and it actually keeps going when it comes to this download. So backgrounds all included as part of your download here. And then if we just flip through to our next sheet, I don't know where all this glitter's come from. There seems to be glitter everywhere this morning. I've noticed it on the tablets. Somebody seems to have been throwing glitter around the studio over the weekend. Not quite sure who that was, but yeah, I've got glitter everywhere. Goodness me. Anyway, then we move on to our images. I mean, look at him. He is just the sweetest little thing. You can almost feel the fluff on him. He just looks so fluffy. You just want to give him a little bit of a love, don't you? Absolutely adorable. He's even carrying his little present. You could, of course, be sort of flipping those two, so you might have them kind of facing each other, like they're giving each other their little Christmas present. And then what we've done is we've taken that image itself and we've broken it down. So you've got your little present as an individual, so perhaps that's going to be your topper. Then perhaps you're going to tile your present over your background. That's going to create your own backing papers. Of course, you can do that. Super useful to have that separate bow as well. Maybe bringing in the bow and going to be popping it over the archway, just as a little bit of an adornment onto there. Of course, you can be doing that. Some more absolutely gorgeous little characters. I mean, for me, it's the way he's holding his two little hands there. He's sort of, is he reaching out for a cuddle? He's going to be holding something? Maybe you're going to be popping the present into his hands. Of course, you can do that as well. All of these gorgeous detailed images. I mean, the texture on these is absolutely outstanding. All your little holly pieces as well. So if you want to start to build those up into wreaths, you can do that as well. Then we bring in our backing papers. So perfect to work alongside your scenes. These are absolutely lovely in terms of the colourways that we've got here. This lovely sort of starry background one is absolutely gorgeous. In the green, wow. How rich and luxurious does that look? Just absolutely stunning. All those included for you to print your heart's content. Now, if you did go for the dies, then you will get your reflections to go alongside those as well. And then one of my favourites are digital stamps. Think of all the mediums that we've just looked at. Think of your illustration markers, your watercolour markers, your watercolour pencils. Of course, you could be printing these out and using all of those different mediums to colour these. Perhaps you're going to be building up scenes, so you're going to have your lovely little Rudy underneath your archway there. Of course, you can be doing that. Building up your backgrounds with multiples of your holly. So much you can do with a digital stamp, and great to get all of those included. So if you do want to go for your download, which is your scenes, your backgrounds, your reflections, your images, and your digital stamps, that's Shop MCS, and that's $8.99. However, if you do want to go for your SVG cutting files from our Hobby Christmas collection, we do have the option for that. This one is Shop SVG. This is $11.99 for this collection. It's very much like what we had in die format, but this time it's your SVG cutting files that you can use alongside things like your scan and cut. So you've got your lovely little joy there, and there will be reflections to complement the artwork as well. You've got the lovely detailed die itself, plus the outer die and all those lovely little snowflake details that you can be using in the background. Then we move on to Mice Tidings We Bring. Love this one. This is the one where you've got your archway, which has got both the detailed die and the outer, almost like a matte and layer die. Got your two little pairs of your little mice there, your little snowdrift included as well. And then you've got your Rudy. So you've got the character himself, you've got his matte and layer, and you've got all those little holly sprigs. They're going to be great embellishments for all of the items within this collection. Don't forget as well, when it comes to your SVG cutting files, you can resize them. So if you want to have a full 12 by 24 inch little bunny rabbit, of course you can be doing that, and you can be resizing your reflections accordingly. So Shop SVG will get those SVG cutting files to you. However, if you want to go for both of the elements that we've just shown you, so all of those SVG cutting files alongside that lovely Minecraft Studio download with all your backing papers, all your digital stamps, all your images, and all these gorgeous scenes, that one has to be my favourite. How atmospheric is that? $17.99 will get you both of those collections. Shop Digital for that one. Now, before we get into demo, I've seen there's a few questions coming through, so I'm going to take a seat. We'll demo in just a second, but we'll say hello to you guys at home. Thank you for keeping me company. It's very much appreciated. We'll see if we've got any questions that we need to answer at this point as well. So I'll have to try and find my way around here, which usually takes me quite a while, but we'll do our best. And Mrs. H999's in, Charlene's in, Maureen's in, Ria's in, Amanda's in, Elspeth is in. Hello to Lynn, Deborah, Jane, Carol. Hello. Carol, have you got your coffee? Let us know. We've got Janice in, Pam's in, Deborah, Sandra, Leslie, Jonathan. Blimey, a lot of you in this morning. Lovely to have your company. Oh, Daphne's in. Morning, Daphne. We've got Amanda saying these pens are fab. They certainly are. We'll see the illustration ones in action in just a few moments' time. We have got Daphne asking, so how do we store these water brushes? Some of mine are leaking when they arrived. She says, yes, the watercolour, the ink flows to the cover. Do I lay them flat or stand them up? I tend to personally, Daphne, when it comes to mine, I tend to stand them up. So when it comes to these, I'll tend to store them stood up. It's nice and easy to do when they are in your case like this. It shouldn't be leaking. The one thing I'd say to take care of when it comes to them leaking is not to squeeze them. So when it comes to a brush pen like this, you don't want to sort of be exerting a lot of pressure. You just want to be nice and careful and just holding it like so. They shouldn't leak when it comes to your watercolour brush pen. So hopefully that helps when it comes to those. I think that's our only question for now. Any more questions, let us know. I'm just going to have to quickly grab my watercolour pencils that I've left over there. I shall be back. There we go. And then we'll get colouring, I think, unless we've got any more questions, which we haven't at the moment. And we're going to start off actually using our illustration markers. So we'll move all that out of the way and we'll bring in this absolutely gorgeous little bunny rabbit. I mean, how cute is he? He's just absolutely gorgeous. He's got real personality to him. He's got quite an innocent looking expression, or is he really one of the cheeky ones? Is he tricking us? Is he a cheeky little bunny rabbit? I'm not sure. I think he's quite an innocent little bunny rabbit there, but super, super cute. All that detail from that digital stamp has been printed onto some of our pure print 250 GSM paper, which we do have on the show if you are wanting to go for that one. It's going to work perfectly alongside all of your alcohol pens, whether it's these illustration markers that we're about to use or any other ones you've got in your crafty stash. So we've got him printed onto there. I resized him using my Craft Studio. He's probably about 5 or 6 inches in height there, but just you can resize to whatever is going to fit your project, which is one of the things I absolutely love about our digital stamps. So he's printed on there, ready to be coloured. Now what I have done ahead of time is I always have, when I'm colouring using my alcohol-based pens, I'll always have a piece of cardstock underneath just to protect my surface and make sure we're going to get the best result we can. Now what I did ahead of time is actually took all these pens in this pack and I just created myself a little colour chart at the bottom there. So just so that I can see exactly what the colours are going to look like when they're actually coloured onto cardstock. Although you do have the colours on the top there, you'll never get an accurate representation of the ink from the plastic. It will give you a good idea, but to get the best sort of representation of that colour, just do yourself a little colour chart, then you can keep this forever and you've got a better idea of all those different colours that you're going to get with those pens. So that's good to go. We've got our piece of cardstock that we're having underneath and we've got our gorgeous little image that we're going to place over the top. And I'm going to start off with 2 of my grey pens. So our 72 is a little bit darker than our 36. So we'll start off with our lighter one, which is our 36. And with these, you've got your 2 different nibs. So you've got, first of all, your nice thick chisel nib on one end. Great if you want to do your edging of cardstock to do that sort of format and layer. Then this is going to be absolutely perfect to do that. Just makes a real difference. Instead of adding a whole extra piece of cardstock, look what an impact that makes, but just by using your pen. So adding no weight whatsoever when it comes to those mats and layers or faux mats and layers. Great as well because your alcohol-based pens will go onto a range of different surfaces. So a little bit different to your water-based pens, which are better for your porous mediums like your cardstock. Your alcohol-based pens will go onto a variety of different mediums. So if you prefer to colour own your own gems and pearls. So for example, if you buy your own white gems or white pearls, what you can do is you can actually colourize them using your alcohol pens, so they're going to match with your project. And your chisel nib is great for that because it allows you to cover a greater area nice and quickly. So that's your chisel nib, and then we move on to our other side here, which is our really nice fine bullet nib. So you can see that beautifully fine nib that we've got on the end there. It's going to allow us to get into all of those details in our stamped images. So we'll start off with his ear here. So I always like to work in small sections, so rather than focusing on that whole image, we're just going to start off with one small area. We're going to colour that one. Once we're happy with that, we'll move on to the next area, and it just building up that image that way rather than sort of getting overwhelmed by having a large image to focus on. So what I'm doing is I'm just colouring upwards. I'm using a nice flicking motion just to give us that lovely texture, that fairy texture to our bunny. But at the very tips here, I'm just leaving them white. So I'm leaving that area as a highlight. You don't always need to colour that full image. You can always leave bits without any colour just to give that extra little bit of contrast. So that's my lightest colour laid down over that section. Then I'll go into the slightly darker one, which is 72. And all the colours that I'm using here are part of that 24 pen kit there. $16.99 shop illustration will get you all these double-ended nib pens here in their lovely little presentation box. And all of that colouring that we're going to do with these is from all of the pens within this pack, not using any pens from elsewhere. So we're just going in with that darker one. If we find there's a little bit of a join between the darker and the lighter, we'll just flip back to the lighter colour tone, and just where we've got that join, we're just going to flick over that join, and that's going to start to blend those two colours together a little bit better. So once I'm happy with that section there, I'm just going to go in with a little bit more of that darker just at the base there. We can move on to the next area. So I'll move on to his next ear here. Here. I'm rhyming, aren't I? There we go. So we're just going once again with our lightest. So working from our lightest pentone to our darkest pentone allows us to get a little bit of a smoother blend because we're blending when that ink is still wet. So we're just going to flick outwards, once again leaving those little tips of his ear white. So we've got that lovely contrast and highlight onto there, and flicking upwards so that we've got that lovely fur-like texture onto the image. And then once again, we want to go back to the lighter tone just to sort of bridge that gap a little bit better. We can do just that, and it's starting to bring that to life. Now what I did want on my original, and something that's going to give you even more depth and sort of realism to your images, is I've gone in with number 29, which is this lovely icy blue colour tone. Once again, going in with that fine bullet nib. And what we can do is just add a few little flecks of blue, just here and there, not all over. We're not going over that full section using our blue, but we're just adding a few little flecks onto there. And that will add a little bit more depth, a little bit more detail and interest to our images. Works especially well with your greys with a little bit of blue in there, and it's just going to start to bring that to life just like so. Now, it's one of those things you can get totally lost in the colouring, which I have to say I absolutely love. The beauty of your digital stamps is you can print them as many times as you like. Great if you are brand new to crafting, brand new to perhaps these sort of colouring techniques. You can print these out time and time again. Use them almost like practice sheets if you want. You don't need to feel like you need to make them into a project at the end. You can just practice your colouring, practice those different techniques, practice with the pens to see how that colour sort of lays down. But by having it as a digital stamp, you feel like you're not really wasting anything. You've got that ability to print them out time and time again. Now, if you're someone that feels and finds that you prefer to colour larger images, so you like those big open spaces, the beauty is that you can resize them so they're a little bit larger and you've got those larger open spaces to work with. Or if you're someone that prefers to colour in slightly smaller images, perhaps you prefer making smaller cards, or you just prefer those smaller images because you find it a little bit less daunting to have less of an expanse to colour, then of course you can print these out smaller as well. So it just gives you those options depending on your style when it comes to colouring and when it comes to crafting, which is great. You've just got that option of being able to do these in all those different sizes. So perhaps you're going to do a small little bunny for use on a gift tag, and then you're going to do a larger one printing off to a larger size perhaps for use with your cards themselves or your home decor pieces. So just lots and lots of different options when it comes to using your digi stamps. Now, I won't colour the full image because I do want to try and get onto some more techniques with different mediums throughout the course of the show, but just gives you a little bit of an idea of the sort of effects you can use. So I'm literally just using the 3 pens here. So I'm using my darker grey, my lighter grey, and I'm just going in just in a few areas, just a few little flicks with our blue, just to add that little bit more interest to our image. But once you've gone ahead, taken a little bit of time with your colouring, you will end up with something that looks a little bit like that. How gorgeous is he? He's just got such texture to him. And can you see, just by adding those flecks of blue, just by keeping those areas that are uncoloured, keeping them white, gives you real depth and real contrast. In terms of the grey piece themselves, sort of excluding his eye and his nose and ear, I've used the 3 pens. So your 2 greys and your blue is enough to give you that lovely depth. So even with those 24 pens within that pack, you can be getting lots and lots of depth and detail to your colouring. Love that one. And that image, if you're looking for that one, that is from volume 1 of the collection that we've got as part of today's show. Now, before we get on to any more colouring, I will see if we've got any more questions, but we will quickly recap the deal on the digital stamps. Or Highlight Crafts has asked us, what are your favourite colouring mediums? Oh, I'd be interested to hear from you guys at home. What's your favourite? Now, we will get back over to colouring in just a few moments' time, but I do just want to quickly recap the deal that we've got on our digital stamps, there you are, today. So we have got a fantastic opportunity to add lots of gorgeous 2 Red Robins imagery to your crafty stash for a very small price today of $19.99. Now this one is going to get you volumes 1, volumes 2 and volume 3 of our 2 Red Robin digital stamp volumes. Shop download is going to get you all 3. We'll start off with volume 1 here, just to give you a little bit of flavour of the artwork that we've got within this collection. It's all those lovely typically sort of 2 Red Robin images that we've got as part of this collection, all in download format. You've got the ability to take these into Minecraft Studio. You can make these smaller or larger. You can start to build your scenes by using multiples of these different images together to really build up that perspective. You've got designs that's going to take you crafting the whole year through. You've got lovely Christmas artwork. I mean, the detail in his antlers there is absolutely incredible. No need to worry about getting that perfect crisp stamped impression. You know that with a digital stamp you're going to get it perfectly printed each and every single time you go to use one of these. All that gorgeous artwork, all that line work detail. You've even got some of the shading put in there to give you a little bit of an idea as to where the light and shade's going to be. Even your little fence elements you can build up into those beautiful fences. So that is volume 1 that you're getting as part of this collection. The way it works out as part of shop download is you're paying for one, then you're getting the other 2 for free. So quite frankly, it's the way to go for in terms of your downloads on today's show. So shop download, $19.99. This one is now volume 2. Love your little, love his name as well, Oswald the Scarecrow. What a fabulous name. Got a gorgeous, almost slightly bedraggled looking little owl there, super cute. All your really usable little leaves that you can of course build up to create different foliage compositions. We'll actually be colouring that one in just a few moments time. Our lovely sweet sprig on there. All your tractors, so some great elements there for gents cards as well. All those different elements in that lovely line work detail that you can print out, resize and rework to your heart's content. So that one is volume 2. Then the 3rd volume within this collection that you're getting as part of shop download is this lovely collection of images you see here. That great brickwork background that's going to be so usable alongside so many of these different images within the collection. All of your lovely little silhouette details as well. So if you are using those alongside perhaps your inky backgrounds, that's going to be absolutely perfect for use alongside there. I mean, look at the detail in the hay. That's just incredible. Every single one of those lines pristine and crisp onto that gorgeous image there. And then we move on to our 3rd sheet here of all your lovely dragonflies. You've got your gorgeous birds on here as well. All these lovely images that you've got in your stash to work with whenever and however you so choose. Shop download, $19.99 will get you all 3 volumes of your 2 Red Robins Digistamp collections for $19.99. Should be just under £70, not today, $19.99, and that's before of course your club discount. Now I have had a news flash. I might be on my own, but apparently I'm playing Pictionary. Should we play it now or are we playing it now? Let's play it now. I had a good one last week, I had a bad one last week, so we'll see. Is it a hard one?
I don't know actually.
That's a yes. So, guys at home, Amber's going to give me a word. I'm going to have to try and draw it. It could literally be anything. I'm trying to think what was one last week. You gave me a really hard one. I can't think what it was. Anyway. What was it? We'll remember at some point. But you guys at home, just try and guess what I've drawn. I'll do my best. And then you've got the opportunity to win points, and we'll draw out a winner at the end. So, okay.
3, 2, 1.
Should have been paying more attention, shouldn't I? Dear. Oh my gosh. This is not going well, is it? I don't know why I've drawn him as a stick man.
I can't even guess this.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh, okay, nice.
Oh my gosh, what can I do to make this look any better? Not much, I don't think. Probably end up making it worse. Oh dear. If anyone gets this at home, then well done, quite frankly, because
Hope you're happy.
a bit late now. Oh, it needs a hat on. I don't know why I've done his head as a bucket. Just ignore that. Just ignore most of it, quite frankly. That's probably the best thing you can do. I don't know what that is. I do apologise. Need some clothes on. There we go. I could have the rest of the day to do this. I don't think we'll get any better. Maybe. There you go.
Beautiful.
I think it's on a par with the dragon that looked like a bedraggled chicken. But yeah, anybody at home, let us know if you have any idea what that might be. I'll be very interested to see the comments that are coming through. But give it a go. You never know. Oh dear. Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, there's a few interesting ideas come through. I do apologise. That was definitely not one of my best. In fact, yeah, probably one of my worst. Oh dear. Oh well. Oh, apparently a few people are getting it. Wow. You guys at home must be brilliant at picturing, because you got it from that. But oh well, we won't complain. Right, back to something that hopefully I can do a little bit better. Can't be much worse, let's be honest. Colouring. One of my favourite things, I have to say. We were asking in the comments, what's your favourite colouring medium? Now, I would usually say alcohol markers. However, I did this at the weekend. I was quite chuffed with it, I have to say. And this is using our watercolour brush pens. And I had an absolute whale of a time colouring using these amazing watercolour brush pens. How gorgeous is that image? So we'll do a little section of this image. So what I've done is I've just printed out that same image here. I actually printed 2 to a page. So of course, if you want to do multiples, if you're batch making, you can fit a couple of those onto the page. So I've printed this onto some of our watercolour cardstock, and this one is from volume 2. And we'll grab our watercolour brush pens. Got a couple of different options when it comes to our watercolour brush pens. You can actually use them straight from the pen itself and not dilute them with water if you so choose, but you will get the best effects by actually diluting them with water. So I'm going to start off with one of the leaves. So I'm going to pick up a couple of my greens here. So one that's a little bit darker and one that's a little bit lighter. And we'll start off with the one that's lighter. So a little bit like we've just been doing using our our alcohol pen colouring. And we can colour directly onto that image. Now, if we want to, if you are a little bit less confident when it comes to your watercolouring, what you can do is you can take something that's non-porous, so something like your load and fold will be ideal actually. We were talking on Friday about how you can use this as a palette. So what you can be doing is you can be taking your pen, you can scribble that onto there. Because these are water-based, unlike your alcohol pens, that won't dry onto there. And what that allows us to do is allows us to take either a wet paintbrush, or we can take our water brush, of which you do get one included in this kit here, and you can actually use that as a palette and pick it up that way if you find that a little bit easier. So a few different options in terms of the way that we can colour with these, but the way I tend to is I'll lay a little bit of colour down onto my cardstock or onto my image to start with, and I'm just going to start to drag that colour outwards. So starting where we've laid down that colour, and we're just going to start to bleed that colour outwards, and you can see how that's starting to blend together nicely. Now you can go back in if you want a little bit more depth to the centre there. We can go back in with that pen that we just laid down the colour, and that's going to start to blend that together and give us that lovely bit of shading down the centre. Now what I'm then going to do is I'm going to flit to my slightly darker colour here, and we're literally just following the clues that we've got within this digital stamp. So where we've got our vein down the centre, that's where it's going to be a little bit darker. So then we'll go in with our darker colour tone. We're not colouring all over our leaf, we're just literally laying that down into the centre. And then once again we can go to our damp paintbrush, and you don't need a soaking wet paintbrush because they are lovely rich sort of pigmented pens that you get in here. You don't need an awful lot of water to drag that colour out, especially if you're using some of the watercolour card that we've got on today's show, because it's beautiful quality. And you can start to drag that colour out. Now, if you think you've gone a little bit heavy-handed and you want to sort of knock back some of that colour, we'll just clean our paintbrush. Once again, damp paintbrush, and we'll just go over the edges there, and we can sort of knock back some of that colour. So it's going to give us that lovely sort of faded out colour and look and feel at the edges there. Once again, just make sure we're keeping washing that paintbrush as we start to bring out some of that colour there. And nice and quickly and easily, you're getting that lovely shaded effect. Now what I did with the original, to give us that real lovely contrast, you can see there that's a little bit sort of more impactful than the one we've just done. I'd leave this to dry, or you can force dry it using a heat tool if you are impatient, as a lot of us tend to be, especially when we want to see our image sort of take shape and come to life. So you can dry it off, and then once it's dry, you're just going to go in with that darker colour tone, and you're just going to add a little bit of that colour neat from the pen. So here I'm going in with the darkest, and without blending that with water, so it's still a bit wet there. Once it's dry, you're just going to add that over the top, and then instead of bringing in your water and blending that colour out, you're going to leave it as it is, and that's going to give you that really lovely dramatic finish into the centre there. So that's one of your leaves. Well, let's switch out to one of the apples now, so I can show you the sort of technique that we've used to colour that. So we'll go back into our lovely little wallet, and I love the fact that everything is going to store perfectly in there. You've got your little buttons on there, so it's lovely and easy to transport. You've got all your pens, you've even got your watercolour brush pen in there as well that you can take out with you if you are colouring on the go. So we're going to go to some of our reds. We've got a couple of different shades here. We'll start off with our darker red, and we also need to grab a yellow as well, which is kind of like the secret ingredient, if you like, to give it that little bit of extra life. So we'll start off with our darker of the two, just working on this top apple here. And these won't be as juicy when you colour down with them, they won't be as juicy as an alcohol pen, simply because we're going to actually add that water and start to bring that colour to life. So it doesn't need to be sort of as even coverage when we first lay that colour down. As well, you don't need to be super precise when it comes to laying that colour down to start with. Obviously don't want to go outside of the lines around the edge, but it doesn't need to be like beautiful brush strokes in that centre there, because when we start to bring in our water, we'll start to sort of blend any of those streaks out. So once again, nice damp paintbrush. We're just going to paint over that area where we've just added our red colour tone, and start to then bring that towards the centre. Now, the first coat never has to be perfect. It never has to be that seamless blend or enough depth or shading when you first lay that colour down. It's all about building up those layers, building up that shading, that detail, until you're happy with that finished result. So we're just going to start to blend that out into the centre.
Is it the watercolour card you're using?
It certainly is, yeah. Yes, it's a watercolour card that we've got on the show that I'm using here. It's a slightly lighter weight one. The one that you've got on your screen there, shop card, $9.99. We'll get 25 sheets of our card here. And I've just ran it through the printer to give us that lovely, almost like stamped effect onto this surface. So now I'm going into that slightly lighter colour tone of that red. We do have a couple of different red tones within this set here, and I'm just starting to bring that a little bit further forward, so we're starting to bring that colour inwards, and can you see how that's starting to blend through a little bit better onto there. Keep on washing my brush and keep on blending that until I'm happy with the blend that we've got on there. And then I'm just going to go back to the slightly darker of the two reds. I'm just going to make sure that's nicely blended out in the centre to start with. Then we'll go out to that darker one and we'll just make sure we've got that colour all the way up to the edges. I mean, you don't have to do this. If you want to have more of a sort of loose, fluid watercolour look and feel to this, of course you can be doing that. Choice is yours in terms of what style you prefer, but if we just colour up to the edges, like so, it's going to make that look a little bit more finished, to my eye at least. We've all got different styles and tastes. So that's our red pretty much laid down. I'll probably take a little bit more time just to blend that through, but at this point I'll bring in my yellow. Now, this is where I use my Load and Fold as a palette. So I'm just going to colour a little bit of that yellow onto there. And one of the things as well to know about these pens, which I absolutely love, instead of it being like a dense nib there, the nib is actually made up, if I just go like that, you can just about see, there you go. The nib is actually made up of bristles like a regular brush would. So it's very much like a proper brush. Sometimes what you find with watercolour brush pens, it's not a true brush, it's just like, I suppose, like a triangle if you like. Whereas this is actually made up of all of those individual brush hairs, just like, sounds a bit funny to say, but a proper brush, if that makes sense. But they taper down to that lovely fine point. They're not sort of splayed out all over the shop, but it still tapers down to that lovely fine point, but all made up with those bristles. It does make a real difference and makes it like you're properly colouring using brushes, if that makes sense. So we've got our yellow onto there. The reason why I'm popping it onto my palette first before I add it onto my image is just because I want this to be super sort of subtle. I don't want an awful lot of that yellow onto there. I don't want it to look like yellow. I just want it to almost like blend in and just give it that lovely realistic shine. So just by adding a little bit of that yellow onto there, just keeping my paintbrush clean in the centre just to make sure I've got that lovely shine on there. Just adds that extra little bit of depth and dimension. So a little bit like when we were colouring with our alcohol pens, we brought in that blue onto his fur. It's going to give you that same sort of idea, that same sort of look and feel when it comes to your watercolour pen colouring. So a lot of the techniques, a lot of the skills that you learn with one medium, you can transfer to the other. But how gorgeous is that? Just very, very quick colouring. Of course, you could spend a little bit more time on doing that. But once you've built up that detail, and it's just a case of once you've mastered one leaf, you'll just repeat that process around there with all those different leaves. You're going to end up with something that looks a little bit like that. How gorgeous is that image? Just really, really sort of screams summer. Really screams that outdoor life. Just absolutely beautiful. And that's just one of the literally hundreds of digital stamps that you get as part of that DigiStamp download. But if you want to go for your watercolour brush pens, these are exactly what we've used to colour that full image there. Shop Water, $14.99. You're getting 20 of the different colours within there, plus you are getting one of those water brushes. So it's kind of like 21 in total, even in that lovely plastic carry case as well. So everything is going to store away nice and neatly. If you want to be crafting on the go, then that's going to be absolutely perfect when it comes to that fabulous collection of your pens there. Now, I've just noticed the time, this hour has absolutely flown by. I do want to very, very quickly, before the end of the show, get a little bit of watercolour pencil colouring. But before I do that, I do want to quickly remind you of the details that are currently on your screen, which is for that download collection. Now, it's a fabulous resource. It's a fabulous ability to actually build up and perhaps add to or start off your stash when it comes to your your downloads. Where alcohol pens came from, I do apologise, but your downloads, you're getting plenty, you're getting literally hundreds of different downloads that you can resize, you can print them out to your heart's content onto all of your different surfaces, and you can get colouring. Now, that is $19.99. It works out, you're paying for one of the volumes, you're getting the other two for free, which is a fabulous offer. So all volumes 1 to 3 as part of your download. That one is shop download for $19.99. So, quick little bit of colouring of this gorgeous little owl. So this is volume 2 that we've got this one from. But of course, if you are going for shop download, you're getting all 3 volumes anyway. But just for reference, volume 2, how cute is he? He's sort of winking at us here, this lovely little owl with such personality. So we've got that printed onto some of our watercolour cardstock. Then we've got our lovely, this is what I'm calling our pick of the show, quite frankly, these pencils. Could not believe we're doing these for $7.99. Your wallet is included, all 24 pencils in there. And all I'm going to quickly do, so I'm conscious that we've not got much time whatsoever, is I'm going to grab a couple of our pencils here in brown colour tones. So we'll start off with our darker one. And the beauty of your watercolour pencils is you don't have to be super precise when you first lay down that colour, because a bit like with your watercolour pens, you're going to blend out that colour afterwards. You don't need to be really precise in terms of having lovely sort of strokes onto your cardstock. You can be a little bit more rough and ready if you like. And then as we move through the stages, we can start to refine it that little bit more. So we'll go in with our darker just around the edges there. Once again, I'm taking my paintbrush, but you could use, if you're going for your watercolour markers, you could be using that lovely watercolour brush pen that you are getting as part of that collection there. And we're just going to start, once again, start where that colour is. Sort of wet that colour, so we've got that colour nice and liquid now, and then we can start to blend this out and drag this out into the centre. When you need to add water, add a little bit more water, but it's always best to start off with a little bit less water, and you can start to build up the water as you go. So already we've got a little bit of shading onto there. What I'd then be doing is I'd be leaving that to dry. Once it's dry, I'd then be using that same technique that we did with our pens, and I'd be going in once it's dry by using those darker colours to start to actually add more shading and then not blending those out. And when you repeat that sort of technique all over the image, you're going to get something a little bit like that. And if you want to go for your pencils, 24 of those in that lovely presentation carry case for $7.99, and that one is Shop Pencil. My goodness me, that hour is literally, I blinked and I missed it, quite frankly. I hope you guys at home enjoyed it as much as I did. Please do make sure you check your baskets out and join, I believe it's Stephanie and Mel for the next hour. Winner, oh, nearly forgot the winner. There we go, who's going to win for my terrible drawing? It was a scarecrow, by the way. Maureen C, congratulations. We will be in touch with your prize. 150 points, very, very nice. I will be back at 1 o'clock. Until then, enjoy your makeover Monday, because we've got some real goodies coming up for you. Until then, ta-ra for now.